Hi and welcome to the Felt Hub. I'm going to show you today how easy it is to create these lovely stems for your flowers using carded wool or wool tops. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. All I'm using is a 38 star felting needle, which is a really good all-rounder, and you really do need something that's quite robust when you're doing this, because anything finer is likely to catch on the metal wire of the stem and break. And then I've got carded wool tops, and I've actually got some carded batting, because a question that popped up in the Facebook group the other day was, you know, how to get a smooth finish, and all this particular person had was carded bat in the right colour. So we'll give that a go and see how we get on. So if you're a beginner, then I would always recommend start using a pipe cleaner. One of these, this is a cotton covered pipe cleaner, because it's the wool really sticks to it, and you really don't need to do much felting at all. In fact, you don't do a lot of felting for any of this. It's more about the wrapping technique. So with your pipe cleaner, I'm going to show you, if all you've got is carded bat and it's tricky to get long lengths, then just take really short thin pieces like so, and then just mat it a little bit in your hands, just so it gives it a little bit more strength, and then you can stretch it out so that it becomes really thin, and that's the best way to sort of deal with that. And then twizzle the end to get yourself started. Hold on to the pipe cleaner. Don't worry about this end bit just at the moment. I'll show you how we're going to deal with that. And then just keeping your fingers really close to that pipe cleaner, twist the pipe cleaner, not your fingers, holding it steady. And can you see how smooth that is? And because it's carded wool, you need to keep your fingers quite close, because it does break really easily. And I'm not doing any felting at all here. I am just twizzling that pipe cleaner, and because it's going to be a flower stem, I'm only going to do one layer, and then you just gently poke down the sides, just a few pokes, nothing extreme, just to get some of that wool holding together, and keep turning. And there is no felting going on there at all. In fact, you could even get away without using your felting needle for most of this. And the thing is as well is keep that nice and flat. Don't let that wool twist. Keep it flat. And then just come to the last bit. And can you see, because of that fluffy pipe cleaner you've got there, it's just held on to itself. Now, if you were doing fairy arms, you would do exactly the same technique. And another question I got asked was, how do you get this end to actually, you know, look really neat without any bits sticking out? So I'm just going to take another little piece of wool, just pull another fine bit off, stretch it out, just twizzle that end. So I'm just going to go here, and I'm just going to wrap that all the way to the end, hold that there, poke your needle through, don't worry about any loose bits at the end. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. See, so that's held onto there now. Fold that end over, you see that, and then just continue to wrap, keeping that wool pulled nice and tight, and you've created that nice shape at the end. Pull that off, and then in the middle of that wire where you bent it over, there's a little gap, so you're just going to push the needle through that gap. Go to the other side if you wish. Find that gap, just so it tacks on, and then just continue to wrap that round. And if you're doing a fairy arm, that is how that would work. and then just tuck in those ends, and then just give it a gentle rub with your fingers. And then if you've got any little bits, little stray bits, you can just trim those off with scissors. And again, if you've got any loose bits, you can just roll in the palm of your hands, and it gets that nice and firmly held on. And that's how you would do your flower stem. So now I'm going to use a wire, and I'm going to use some wool top, and I'm just going to take a really thin piece of wool top. I'm going to start halfway because I don't need all of this, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to just wrap that round. Oops, lost a flower there, so that holds there, and then keeping that flat. And with wool tops, because the fibres are going the same direction, it's much harder to actually break them, so you can really get a really good purchase on that. Keep twizzling. Now with the wire stems, you will need to use your needle a little bit more because it's not as sort of sticky as the pipe cleaners. And this is 1 mil thick paper covered floristry wire. There we go, and keep that turning. Keeping it flat. I'm just going to turn this way. So depending on which way works best for you, however you're most comfortable, you may start one way and then flip it round. And you see, keeping that flat and really tight. That is super tight, really tightly wrapped around that wire. It shouldn't be loose at all, because if it's loose, then you're actually going to see the lines that are forming as you twist, and everything is overlapping so that each twist overlaps, so it's a slightly diagonal angle. Keep working, keeping that flat. I'm heading towards the end. Go back if you feel that it's become loose at all. See how lovely that is? Nice and smooth and really tight. And then we're just coming towards the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same as I did with the pipe cleaner. I'm going to just go over that end, hold that there. Be careful with your fingers. Just going to push down the sides there, just so you tangle a few of those fibres so it doesn't remove itself. There we go. And then if you wanted a sort of thicker stem base, then you can turn it over and actually do what you did with the pipe cleaner. Or if you just want to finish it there, then just remove any excess and then just come back up the stem again until you get to the end. And then just really poke down those sides with that needle, taking up any bits that are hanging over the edge and pushing them in. So you see how it's slightly different to the pipe cleaner, that you do need to do a little bit more felting, and then just go diagonally, so that just narrows that down, so then it just becomes part of the base here. And always wind in the same direction, because if you don't wind in the same direction, what you'll find is that you actually start to unwind it. So can you see how nice and neat that is? And if you've got any lumps and bumps, again, you can just use your hands just to smooth it out. Works really well. You could also, as well, if you wanted a really tight, super smooth, even smoother than that, you're not going to get a lot smoother, but what you could actually do is dip the whole of that stem in boiling hot water, and then when it's cool enough, just rub it and pat it, and then leave it to dry, and that will shrink those fibers even further.